CWR. First of all, Thursday morning around this time means it's time to check out what's happening on the big screen, and indeed on your telly box this weekend. Our film critic from Stratford-upon-Avon, James Luxford, is here. Hello, James.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us this morning. Missed you last week. You were in Scotland, weren't you?
I was, yes. We just went for a very quiet breakaway for a few days, and I believe as we were leaving, just as we were getting on the plane, they called into effect the shutdown of restaurants and pubs in the country. So a bit good timing, I think.
Yeah, you'll say that again. It's Nicola Sturgeon, of course, has implemented her own measures, hasn't she, north of the border. And I was looking at your Twitter feed last night. You were out watching the Stratford Town last night.
Indeed, yes. Stratford Town versus Wolves sent their young players over. It was nice to get out, and there was sort of socially distant spots there to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good fun. I think it was an easy pitch to my wife because it's a place we hadn't been for a while. It was a different place instead of sort of the going around the same places, and also they served chips. So
very important, very important. And the non-league, certainly the non-league clubs have had this hashtag Let Fans In campaign and said, look, we are able to manage socially distant crowds because we don't have tens of thousands of people. We can manage 1,000 people in little bubbles all around the pitch and around the ground, and hopefully you've had a chance to experience that, James, and see how it was managed for yourself. They managed it well, did they, at Stratford Town?
I think so, yeah. I certainly felt safe, and there's sort of a lot of openness around the ground, especially with non-league teams, and you can find your own spot and keep relatively distant. And I think I felt safe throughout, to be honest.
Good stuff. Stratford Town, Hitchin Town, their game this weekend. Let's get on to the movies, shall we? This is what we've got you on for, mate, isn't it, really, after all? Where do you want to start this week?
We're going to start with Rebecca in cinemas Friday and on Netflix the 21st of October, a new adaptation of the classic novel starring Lily James as a young woman who is haunted by the presence of her husband's late wife.
He doesn't love you.
I said I want the truth.
You didn't know her. Nobody did.
You can't go on living in that big old house with a ghost. I don't believe in ghosts.
It is a remake, so a lot of people will be thinking, is it as good as the original?
Yes, I suppose quite ironically, this is sort of haunted by the reputation of Alfred Hitchcock's version. It's been remade a lot of times for TV and film. I don't know if this lives up to that particular version, but it is a terrific story. It's got gorgeous sets and a really good cast. Lee James, as you heard just there, Armie Hammer as her husband, and Kristen Scott Thomas as Mrs. Danvers, the housekeeper, who gives a very menacing performance. I think it's a great looking thriller, and it's great that there's an option to watch it at the cinema or at home in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Netflix on the 21st, as you say, in cinemas on Friday. This, your next pick, also something's opening in cinemas on Friday night.
Yes, on Friday and on Netflix on the 25th, it's Over the Moon, an animated family film about a young girl in China who builds a rocket to the moon to meet a mythical goddess.
It's just a silly myth.
It's not a silly myth. It's real. She's on the moon right now, waiting for her true love. Right, Papa? He used to believe in her. If Papa could only believe again.
And I guess with the half-term holidays coming up, this is what this movie's been sort of aimed for, isn't it, really?
Yes, I suppose it would probably have gotten a much larger release were cinemas are a little more open. Obviously, we've got one chain in Cineworld down, but this has, again, spread over cinemas and streaming around the half term. And I thought this was lovely. It reminds me of Pixar in its animation, and there are some lovely songs and a lot of jokes that are quite innocent and fun. Again, a great voice cast too, including Sandra Oh from Killing Eve, John Cho from Star Trek, and Kurt Russell. So yeah, just a really fun adventure for all the family.
Over the Moon in cinemas on Friday, and as James says, on Netflix, available from the 25th of October. And your final pick, something for us on the telly for Saturday night.
Yes, Saturday 9:15 on Channel 4. It's Mission Impossible: Rogue Nation, the fifth Tom Cruise adventure, with his super spy Ethan Hunt being chased by the CIA after being framed by a mysterious syndicate.
The syndicate is real. A rogue nation trained to do what we do.
An anti-IMF.
They're coming after us with everything they've got.
You ready?
This may very well be our last mission. Let's make it count.
So what's the play?
You want to bring down the syndicate? It's impossible.
Now, isn't this the one where he famously broke his ankle after trying to do a stunt and ran into a wall or something?
That was the last one. That was
Oh,
the
was
sixth
it?
movie.
Oh,
Had
right.
this,
There's been so
however,
many.
it's never quiet for Tom Cruise, really. This is the one where he clings on to the side of a plane as it takes off. Yeah, he's always thinking up something to do, and I think this was great fun. I think the Mission Impossible films have really grown the last 2 or 3 movies, and it's down to the spectacular stunts. And in this film, as I say, Tom Cruise hangs off of a plane during takeoff. With Top Gun 2 postponed, I think this is a great way to get your action movie hit. And I don't think anyone really does action quite like Tom Cruise anymore. He's just one of the last really big movie stars in a world where I think characters and franchises are maybe more important. He's still the star.
Good stuff. James, always good to hear from you. Lots of love to yourself, the wife, and Stratford Town, obviously, as well. Thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
James Luxford, film critic from Stratford-upon-Avon. His thoughts headed into another weekend of movie releases.
BBC CWR.
£10 million of work.